behind all of this. All right, big news, big news, big news, big news. Only last week, guys. Not even last week. What is today's date? I'm looking for today's date. I think today's the 8th or the 9th. On the 7th of August, the case is completely dismissed. Completely dismissed. The old SEC, 2 regimes ago, Jay Clayton started this at the end of Donald Trump's term. And then, of course, Gary Gensler kept pressing. And finally, it is all dismissed. And they paid a $125 million fee. And we move on. And now that, on the same day, Ripple Lab announced they bought Rail Financials. And I can't wait to talk to you about the implications of Rail Financials for $200 million. Now, you have to understand the third bullet and the fourth bullet are very critical. Ripple Labs have applied to become a bank. Let me repeat that. They have applied to become a bank. They want to be like B of A, Chase, Wells Fargo, whatever your bank account is. They have applied for National Trust Bank Charter, okay? And they're going to call this Ripple National Trust Bank, based in New York. So this is big, big news, guys. And I hope you Google and learn a lot about this. They are going to become a bank. And that has implications on cross-border payment. That has implications in the United States in terms of their charter, okay? The next one, the fourth bullet, they have also applied to become the Federal Reserve Master Account. Guys, I hope you understand what that means. That means they are tapping into the FedWire. FedWire moves at least $1 quadrillion a year. Ripple Labs have big ambitions to be able to access FedWire and be able to modernize FedWire and be able to use FedWire to move money. $1 quadrillion. 1 quadrillion is $1,000 trillion, guys. So we'll talk a little bit about that, the implications of that. These are some important catalysts. A lot of people don't understand why these things are going to make XRP go through the roof. Not financial advice, by the way. Of course, they've had this deep partnership with BYN Bank. They are well entrenched inside of BYN Bank, and they do all sorts of cross-border settlement with BYN Bank, and they're expanding that also. SBI, a company based in Japan, already owns 9% of Ripple Labs, and they are applying for a spot ETF in Japan. There's a lot of money dying for an opportunity because Japanese market is not doing well. They're looking for alternative places to put their money, and XRP and Ripple Labs is one of the places they would put money. So this is spot ETF in Japan. Not to be outdone, in US, there are 12 pending spot ETF applications, and looks like now that the case is settled, this will be approved sometime in October. I'm not waiting till October. My bags are loaded, not a financial advice. I have to keep reminding you guys, if you buy XRP, you need to understand why you bought it. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you. And then go do your own homework and see if this is something you're willing to take a risk in. Because every single crypto, every single stock has risks. And you have to understand what you're taking the risk in, because there's a reward for risk. And also the risk means you could lose everything. All right? So 12 ETFs are coming. We all know what happens when you get an ETF. Bitcoin has an ETF, flood of money coming in. Has an ETF flood of money coming in. And today Ethereum is almost $4,300. And a lot of that is being pumped in through corporate treasury and ETFs. All right? And then, of course, as I've already touched on, the Clarity Act that passed and the Stablecoin Act that passed. And actually, Clarity Act passed the House of Representatives. It's in Senate. It will be signed probably in about a month. But the stablecoin has direct implications with XRP and RL/USD. RL is Ripple USD. That's a stable coin. All right. So major catalyst for that. And then I'll show you a little bit about the opportunities they have. And one of the most important reasons for international payments or cross-border payments or wires internationally is everybody knows about SWIFT. When I send money from US to, let's say, Philippines, it uses SWIFT to transfer that money. It is an archaic model. It gets lost. It's opaque. It takes days, if not a week to 10 days to settle, to send the money, and God forbid the money gets lost. The alternative to that is Ripple Labs solution using Ripple Network. And I have another video that dives into Ripple Network and all of that. And they use RLUSD for stablecoin transfer. At the same time, If they need on-demand liquidity, they use XRP. So that is part of my pricing model. You'll see that shortly. And that is how it gets up to $72 in terms of